When you think of Silicon Valley, you think of millionaires. You also think of a couple of billionaires. You think of intelligence. You think of coders and programmers and how much money they're making. Well, what happens if
Yes.
those billion-dollar dreams don't happen? Here to talk about that new series called the Tech Bro Murders is Palo Alto Police Department Detective Sandra Brown. And we're going to talk about a few things. And I got a chance to see one of the episodes, and I was like, when you the look on your face, the look I had on my face when I saw that. Let's talk about first of all being a part of the Palo Alto Police Department, and then all of a sudden, boom.
So, James, I'm actually a retired lieutenant from the Palo Alto Police Department, and I
Okay.
retired 14 years ago.
Okay.
And so, working in Silicon Valley, I mean, I grew up in California, grew up in the Bay Area, I grew up in Silicon Valley. But working in Palo Alto, I didn't know about wealth until I started driving around in my patrol car way back, maybe 30 years ago. Even today, the average home is about $10 million. And it's not in our mind what we thought when we were growing up. It's still sometimes just a little tiny, 1,200 square foot house. There's a lot of power, there's a lot of money, there's a lot of hope, there's a lot of fame. All that's going on in the city of Palo Alto and throughout, Silicon Valley. And so you see, I mean, having worked there for 25 years, I've met a lot of people, I've seen a lot of things, and some of it's great and awesome, and some of it just breaks your heart. Some of it is just, it's just the reality of, everything happens that happens everywhere else in the world.
And you don't expect it to happen in Palo Alto, do you?
Well, I'll be honest with you. During my time there, a lot of people didn't lock their doors, and they said, "Well, this is Palo Alto. Nothing happens here." But, crime doesn't have a zip code. I've been saying that for years. It doesn't have a zip code. And so, yes, crime can happen. A lot of people feel safe. And, I mean, it's an excellent police department. I'm glad people felt that way. But you need to lock your doors, right? You just need to lock your doors and take care of your families.
Speaking of which, talk a little bit about that first case, the one we're talking about, where the young man was looking to start his own tech company, and everybody thought he was pretty brilliant. He had a pretty good idea, but all of a sudden he started alienating himself from his friends and other people. What happened?
You know, People come to Silicon Valley with hopes and dreams. They have brilliant ideas about technology. They see all the other, they see all the other tech bros that have made it, and they're hoping that they can do the same thing. Not everybody makes it in Silicon Valley. Not everybody makes it in any business. And in this case, the Killer Code is the name of the show that's starting tomorrow. Uh, Kathy Anderson was a well beloved woman in Menlo Park, California. And actually, this is obviously not my case, but I knew her husband. I used to see her husband and have coffee with him just as a cop, in Palo Alto. He had his own business and nice people. I don't think I've ever met her, but he was just really a nice person. This is a horrible, frightening crime. It's the difference is people don't expect it. They think, oh, you're living, you've got millions, you have a huge mansion, everything is perfect. It doesn't necessarily work that way. You can have all that, but there are people who come to Silicon Valley with their hopes and dreams. When they don't make it, it's crushing. And for this young man, Francis Wolke, he might have had a little bit of a mental illness. He really wanted to mimic Mark Zuckerberg. I mean, he even tried to get on the Facebook property in Menlo Park. He was sleeping on balconies in Stanford, and he had this mental idea. And I'm not going to give you everything on this show; you'll see it. But he had this mental idea that he wanted to be one of the one percenters, and that's what I'm going to say about that. Watch the show. It is a sad story. I actually stood outside of Kathy Anderson's home while we were during production, and I looked at her home and I looked into her dining room, and I probably saw exactly what Francis Wolke saw: a family or a person having dinner, and he ended all of that. But in this case, as we're going, we really, we didn't know at first who was it. Was it a jilted lover, a jilted boyfriend, who was a Daniel Baggett, or was it this brilliant engineer who did it. And so this is a serious who did it case. I really want everybody to watch it. I want you to pay attention to what's going on. But people lost their lives. And so as I, smile and grin, it really is a sad story that something happened like this in the Bay Area.
I'm gonna tell you how sad it was. I got to see it last night, but earlier in the day, I was at a family reunion having a great time, having fun, and I came home. I know I've got this interview. Let me sit down and watch this. Wow. Wow.
It's very interesting. And here's the other thing about this, the tech bro murders. Society has this idea that crimes occur in lower socioeconomic communities, people of color, people who don't have it all. And then when you have all this money and all this wealth and all this fame, people think, oh, they have it all. They don't, nothing's going to happen. There have been homicides in wealthy communities for years, and we're starting to look at that. And when you look at tech bro murders, it's nothing that happened last year. We're going way back. It's been going on for a little bit of a while, and that's what I liked about it, is we're bringing out to that, you can have fame and fortune and be wealthy, but there's an underlying something that's happening in Silicon Valley where people have lost it, and they think that they can either buy their way out, or that they can't be harmed, or they can do anything they want to because I'm a millionaire. It doesn't work that way.
No, it doesn't work that way. The series is called Killer Code. It's on Discovery Channel. Is that right?
That's right. It's on ID channel tomorrow, 9 o'clock Central, 9 o'clock East Coast, but it's on HBO Max the next day too, so you can people can stream it the next day. You did something that I haven't done. I haven't seen it yet, so I'm doing the whole watch party. And I'm going to see it when my neighbors see it. And then also, James, I was just in St. Louis a couple of weeks ago. I was just there.
Well, a couple of weeks ago. Was it really hot here then?
Well, I live in Arizona, so no, it wasn't really hot there. Okay.
Not to you, but to St. Louis, it was like, it's sweltering here. It's sweltering. Retired police officer Sandra Brown, thank you so much for joining us on Morning Blend. I really appreciate that. I'm going to keep watching because that was very intriguing. Thank you.
Thank you, James. I appreciate you.